We've got an area that we introduced in 2022 called the Garddorfa. And Garddorfa is a portmanteau of Gardd, which is garden, and Cerddorfa, which is orchestra.
Okay.
So it's like a cultural garden. So we have, it's changed a little bit this year, and it's changed form every year depending on where we are.
Okay.
But it's all made out of reusable or natural or environmental materials. So there's no plastic in the Garddorfa. There's a lot of wood, there's some metals, and there's, you know, different things that you actually need to make an event site happen. But there's wooden planters with community planted gardens in there. They're quite small, but they're really nice. And it was a gardener called Maynard Gwilym who planted them on site with a community group, and they're really pretty. And then the designer of the Garddorfa is someone called Llio Maddocks, and she designs the rest of our site as well. And she is really good at reusing. She works a lot in theatre, she works a lot in communities. She actually has a project right now called, with her sister who also works here, called Project Llio, which means less.
I'm getting very excited now.
It's really cool. So they've been teaching people in the communities how to sew and how to fix things, especially fabric. And they also have like swap shops for clothes. They had a residential weekend in Nantesgrothain a couple of weeks ago where they had loads of sewing machines out and they were just teaching people the skills.
Oh my God. Sorry, I get so
excited.
So,
and Lois designs our site in terms of the branding and the signs and the colour and the flags. So Lois, I think, would be a really good person to talk to as well.
Croeso to GreenWales, the channel celebrating the people, businesses and project building a greener, fairer Wales. Every week we speak to organisations creating real solutions aligned with the Future Generations Act and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, helping Wales lead the way in sustainability and innovation. Let's meet today's guest. We have Llio Maddocks, the art director. Am I right in saying that? I'm getting it. The director of arts at the Urdd Eisteddfod. And I just want to say a special thank you for coming onto the show today. I know you're a rather busy person.
It's quite a busy week.
It's quite a busy week.
You know what? It's quite nice to get out of the busyness as well and to talk about things that matter and that are outside of the Eisteddfod bubble.
Yes, and could you please give me maybe a little overview of what you do at the Urdd Eisteddfod and how maybe a year goes, a little overview of the cycle of the Urdd Eisteddfod.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
you.
The
Eisteddfod, the Eisteddfod Urdd, for those who might not be as familiar with it, is a festival, a travelling festival for young people. So it happens every last week of May annually. It goes north-south, north-south as a pattern, and it's a competitive arts festival. So children and young people under the age of 25 come to compete in singing, dancing, theatre, science, literature, all kinds of things. In terms of the year, it takes about 3 years to plan an Eisteddfod.
Wow, well, so you're planning 3 years ahead now? 3
years ahead. So we've just launched that the Eisteddfod in 2029 is going to be going to Ceredigion. So that's when the work begins. Yeah. So it's a long cycle. And a lot of people ask me, oh, is this a full-time job then? What do you do the rest of the year when the Eisteddfod's not on? And I'm like, well, I plan the next one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun job. But in terms of the year, maybe, we tend to have, we launch the competitions in the summer or September, and then we have local and regional rounds for the kids as well. So they prepare for it while we're also planning this big event. There's about 200 local and regional Eisteddfods that happen from October to April.
Yeah.
And then the winners of all those rounds come to the National Eisteddfod, and that's where we are now.
Wow, that's amazing. And can you tell me how many competitors you may have this year and maybe how many stages?
In total, across from the local to the national, we had 118,000 registrations, which is huge.
Yeah.
And then those that come to the national, when it filters down, it's about between 10 and 15,000, I think.
Wow, very competitive process then.
It's a really competitive process, and the standard here is really high. Yeah. But what's also lovely is that we give an opportunity and a stage for everyone who wants to compete, whether that's at a local or regional or national level.
And I tell you what, there's a new competition you've actually brought in this year, isn't it? And I actually saw it on, I can't remember which day it was, in the Urdd tent.
Yeah.
Very emotional. Could you tell us a little bit
ALN
about
one.
it, maybe? Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was one of my favourite, one of my highlights. And I was really excited for this competition. It's for soloists who have additional learning needs. And we've always had competitions for groups, but never for soloists. And we kind of realised this when we were talking to the kids themselves in different schools and to the teachers. They were really talented, and we just left it completely open as well. We were just like, just perform what you want to perform.
Yeah.
So we had singers, we had someone playing the drums, we had someone dancing, someone playing the piano. It was a really varied competition. But it was beautiful, and a lot of them had fed back to us that they'd never had the opportunity to perform as soloists before at Llio Eisteddfod, which kind of horrified me that it's taken us this long. But you know, we're trying to fix things, we're trying to make sure that there's something for everyone here, and the emotion in that tent when they were performing was incredible, and seeing their teachers and seeing their parents watch them on stage. It's a small competition, but it's going to make a big difference, I think.
It's on a professional stage as well. It's not like it's off cast in a little marquee on the side. All your stages are done to such a high level. It's training people to be in a professional environment. And I say with ALN, additional learning needs people, it's their first time of this, you know, and it's a genius stroke to start doing that. And once you start doing it, you're like, why didn't we start doing this 10 years ago? But
I know.
You've got to start.
I like
everything.
You just got to start. Yeah, exactly.
Just like the Urdd started in 1922.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank
well
you.
Done. You've been reading your stats.
Bosh. I have to do a fact. I do a sustainability fact every single day for the crew.
Yeah.
And my fact for the Welsh language was about the Urdd started in 1922.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
they'll get that tomorrow as part of their little tasty fact. And
Yeah.
I think there was another one which is the Welsh language has been a part of our cultural identity for 1,500 years.
Wow.
So it shows
time,
you.
isn't it?
I think it's one of the oldest languages in the world, and probably you might be able to tell me if it is the oldest. Probably it's a huge thing to say, isn't it?
Do you
I guess.
was it the Carlsberg adverts? Probably the best
Oh,
in
yeah.
the world. Well, there was a Welsh t-shirt company that had a slogan: "The Welsh language, probably the oldest language in the world."
Yeah.
Probably is key there.
That's probably the key, is in doing that. But what we can say is, and this is, I got some friends who live in Epsom and they're Londoners, and I said, you do know the Welsh language is actually your language? I said, the Welsh language is everybody's language.
Yeah.
It's the ancient language of Britain and where we came from. So if anything, you need to learn Welsh so you can feel more united and together as a collaborative thing. Wouldn't it be lovely? And I think something that's definitely come on in the Urdd Eisteddfod is the inclusion of non-Welsh speakers.
Yeah.
I've been trying to learn on and off now for over 3 years using different apps and being with people. But it's the best way to learn for me is being in it and around Welsh speakers. And I've been here for 7 days now, and I've loved every second of it.
Have you learned some Welsh?
Yeah.
I am.
I have. To be honest, it's more sewing it together.
Yeah.
Using what I already know and putting it together, and understand. The big thing for me is understanding what people are saying.
Yeah.
And going, that links to this.
And just having the confidence then, I think, to just try it. I think I'm a language lover. Like, I've always learnt languages. I studied French and Italian. So I know the process, and I know that feeling of feeling a little bit embarrassed that you're going to get it wrong. Yeah. It's really hard to get over. And that's why kids learning Welsh is so magical, because they don't have that embarrassment. They don't have that filter.
They're not embarrassed. Yeah.
They're not at all. They just go for it and they just try. And since a few years now, 3 years maybe, we've had a special day for Welsh learners, and that was this Saturday. Where we have all the competitions for the Welsh learners, and it's a really beautiful atmosphere again, because you get the parents and the kids who are on their Welsh language journey, and the kids might be further along than the parents, and you see them pointing things out like signs and words, and they'll translate it to their parents, and it's really lovely. They'll be like, that's what this means, and
but
then
it connects them together then, doesn't it? You know, and I think
exactly.
There's no exclusion then, and everybody's included. And I think if we're going to get everybody to hopefully be a Welsh speaker in the future, there has to be a huge element of that.
Yeah,
you know? And I
yeah,
think
and that's what we want to do as well, is bring people along with us for their Welsh language journey, and make sure that they have enough opportunities to see it as a language outside of the classroom as well, because it can turn into, when you're learning Welsh in school, it can turn into that's for school, and then when you're in the corridor, like, we don't speak Welsh. So that's what the Urdd does a lot, is show that there's so many opportunities to use the Welsh language outside of the class.
I think it creates an exciting environment to use it, and it's just a lovely place for people to exercise their right in a way to use the language that they want.
Absolutely.
Come on, then let's get in some questions.
Let's go.
That was lovely, thank you. So, when you think about the future, what's one thing you really hope Wales gets right?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think.
Good.
But having a little think. Yeah. I would say invest in communities.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to have things on your doorstep, and I feel sometimes that we get less and less of that these days. Everything kind of nationalises. A lot of things turn to go online, and I think we really realised the importance of community during COVID. When we were all, we were stuck in our houses, we lost our community even though we were still located in them. And I think that reinvestment into what makes a living, thriving community. I'm really lucky to come from a lovely village in North Wales called Llanfestiniog, where the community does thrive, but then, the pub closed down, for example, and the community took it over. And the school, when I was there, had about 100 kids, and now it's got about 40. It worries me sometimes that the chapel has got about 10 elderly people who attend it. It does worry me that we're losing our sense of community. You still see it, especially with young people as well. You see that community is really important to them. We've got a community in if you define it differently, in the Urdd of LGBTQ plus young people who work together to create the presence in Queen and Org here on the site. So it happens in different ways, but I think in terms of the environment as well, I think community activities always have such less environmental impact. Do you know what I mean? If you have things on your doorstep that you can do, if you don't have to travel too far, that rural aspect of it really is a worry for me as well, being from a rural background. It's just, I don't want anyone missing out because of where they're from. Do you know what I mean?
It's so hard the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We've got used to looking outwardly badly, and we're always expecting things to go wrong. And I think that undermines us ever so slightly when things do go right, which is why this channel exists.
Yeah.
We're here. When people think sustainability, they go, oh, Europe, Netherlands, I'm going to say Amsterdam, and for places, Germany, projects all over, people in Africa and getting solar panels, etc. But
not things that are happening right here.
So much happening here. There's so much happening here. I think I'm going to say probably 40 episodes in now with 40 different guests. We travel sustainably, and all I've been is blown away by every single person. And I've got quite emotional in quite a lot of the content that I've done because it's so inspiring. Even to me, it gives me more than hope. I'm confident. Wales is a country of firsts. We created the NHS here. I had loads of other facts in my head. They've all drifted away.
Oh, it's too hard.
Wellbeing of Future Generations Act is the first one in the world.
That is an incredible act. I've been all over the world with the Urdd, and just to kind of talk to people about it, and they can't believe that they haven't thought about that. Do you know what I mean? They can't believe that we aren't planning for the future with young people in other countries of the world. And when you think about that, it is quite incredible that we thought about it and it's been done in Wales first.
Yeah. 100%, and obviously the UN Sustainable Development Goals is what the foundation layer of where we took it from to embed it to. So the framework is there for every country.
Yeah.
And again, talking to Jane Davidson, because obviously she's one of the main architects of it, she said she was in Japan last year because they're now looking at putting it into themselves.
They're big fans in Japan.
Yeah, they're big fans in Japan. And I was talking to somebody called Rupert Allen yesterday. He does a lot of public mapping work in Ethiopia, and he was in a UN meeting a couple of weeks ago, and all they wanted to do was talk about Wales and the Future Generations Act of Wales. And it was absolutely, he was like, I couldn't believe how obsessed they were with Wales. So I think the Welsh people,
That's
and
amazing.
This is why the Urdd is so nice, it's about us celebrating what we have and the culture. So it leads me nicely on to the next question, which is, what is a project idea or change you've seen recently that made you think we need more of this?
A concept that I came across really recently. I was in a session that happened to be run by the Future Gens, and it was Jacob from Den and Goch. Come across Jacob?
Yeah.
He talked about the concept that they did on a project that he was running of insetting instead of carbon offsetting.
Okay.
So bear with me now.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Go.
Apologies to Jacob if I explain this incredibly incorrectly.
It's fine. It's raining because it hasn't rained all week, but our mics won't. Our mics will be fine.
It's bad, right? It's that I've always been quite uncomfortable with the idea of carbon offsetting because I think it just like puts the blame somewhere else, or it's an easy way to do things that are damaging to the environment and resolve yourself of any blame or responsibilities.
Yeah.
But what Jacob had as a concept was insetting. So instead of paying for trees to be planted in a different country in this field, and where there are moral, questions maybe about that as well, is that you invest back into the community where you've worked. So say that you were doing a project here in Ynys like the Eisteddfod, and you knew what your carbon output was. Instead of offsetting it with trees, you could inject money into communities to make sure that for environmental projects, for legacy.
Yeah.
So they talked about something that they'd invested in a local church or a hall where they'd given them money to fix some pipes because they had water leaks, which was increasing their water bills, but also just very wasteful, but they couldn't afford to fix them.
Yeah.
So it was a really good way of thinking, oh yeah, I can also, not fix, but I can also make a difference here where I'm having an immediate effect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's a large part of if you have water, you have energy, you have food, you have the things that give you a stable life. You can have a sustainable life.
Yeah.
When you don't have those things, the pressure that's on you is so intense. You cannot entertain anything. Sorry, the rain's come down and we weren't expecting it. It's very loud in here.
This is proper Eisteddfod weather though. We go from sun to rain to...
I want to walk in it.
We had hail last week before everyone arrived.
Oh my God.
We had rainbows. Yeah, this is proper Eisteddfod weather.
So yeah, that project, fantastic. And again, I think what they're doing there in a way is they're putting the infrastructure in place to sort of help stop emergencies and climate reactions from happening. They're creating resilience in the community. They're being preventative by collaborating and working with communities to give them what they need.
Yeah, and it's something that helps long term as well. With the leaky pipes example.
Yeah.
It's not something distant. It's not something far away. It's something concrete that you can see. You've made a difference for, and that's going to help that community long term.
Yeah.
There are no moral questions around it. There's no ethics. You help someone.
It's immediate.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And I just like the idea of insetting instead of offsetting.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do a bit of research on insetting because I do a lot of work with SMEs in Wales because do you know the statistics of SMEs?
Are you going to tell me?
I'm going to tell you. I cannot tell everybody on this channel because I think it's a really telling thing of Wales. Mm-hmm. So SME, they are also small businesses, 98% of our economy.
Wow.
Micro, which is a 3 to 5 employer, 80% of our economy.
Gosh.
Zero employer, 70% of our economy. So like a plumber, myself right now doing this.
Yeah.
So 70% of our economy they're their own business.
Wow.
Which shows you how that collaborative nature in Wales, and this is why, and it's only going up. So when you talk about community, I think this does embed community because you have to collaborate in order for these things to work. And I think the Wellbeing because it's an opinion, but the Wellbeing Future Generations Act is being embedded because these statistics are going up. It does obviously mean that the larger organisations are leaving, like you've had Ford and Toyota and lots of other big organisations which have given really stable employment for a long time. But, as a world, we're shortening our supply chains and stuff. And it's a really exciting time with like food and Carrymore is a really good example of seaweed farm. I think they've just had permission from NRW to increase either to 8 hectares or 10 hectares.
Oh, wow.
And they've done research on their seaweed. It's 28% more fertilisation than the stuff that comes from Iran, which we use at the moment.
That's incredible.
So as Wales, we're going to get all our fertiliser in the future from seaweed off St David's Coast.
Wow.
And potentially more. So we're already making profitability and stable economies. I think they hire 29 people full-time all year round in St David's. And you think it's a tourist economy. Yeah. I'm interviewing them on the 2nd of June.
You're excited?
I've done some research.
You have?
I'm out on the boat. I might get seasick. I'm not sure. That's the problem. I hope I'll actually survive.
I'm sure you will. I hope you will.
I hope I will. I hope I don't drop this in the sea.
Don't do that.
I might do. Anyway, right, okay. So you've sort of answered this race. Where do you think we're still solving problems too late instead of preventing them earlier? And you talked a little bit about, services in towns and villages leaving. Yeah, did you want to expand on that at all? So where we're solving problems too late instead of preventing earlier, so maybe some preservation techniques for towns and villages? What would you hope that happens? Because, we do have a lowering population, which is going to create less. There is less money for the NHS. So if I could wave a little magic wand for you and go, what could I do for every village and town in Wales to help bring community together? What would that be for you?
Oh, that's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah. They're all big. I just try and help.
I love the idea of the 10-minute towns. Do you know what
I love that.
I love them.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of misinformation about those.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, what's the bad thing?
It drives me mad.
Yeah.
Because my village, when I was growing up, not to harken back to the olden days, but was
You're not that old.
No, I know. Was pretty much a 10-minute town. We had a butcher, we had a fruitmonger, we had a shop, we had a post office, we had a little chippy at one point, we had a pub, we had a church. Everything that people needed was kind of pretty much there. And now we've got a shop and a community-run pub. So it's just the idea of the 10-minute town is that you have everything that you need within a 10-minute walk. But it's been kind of twisted in the media. It feels very continental to me, do you know what I mean? But also it feels like I used to live in Cardiff and I've moved back up to North Wales now just recently. It feels like Canton. Do you know, Canton to me is a 10-minute town.
I lived in Canton.
I love Canton.
Yeah,
you've got
cool.
everything that you need there.
Do you know, I think what's missing at the moment from towns and villages, you have one in Caerphilly, they're like collab working spaces. And in the Rhondda, when I'm working self-employed sometimes, I'm in my home working, and it's lovely to do that, but every now and again you just want to be with other people. And going to a coffee shop's fine, but that can be expensive.
Absolutely.
And if a coffee's a £5, and I think don't beat me up Welsh ice in Caerphilly, I think it's £10 I think for the day,
and you get unlimited coffee.
Yes, how do you know you get unlimited coffee?
I was guessing.
Oh, right, you do.
I'm doing my research.
You do. Oh, I love that. But yeah, you do get unlimited coffee. And you get amazing Wi-Fi. And I think it's VPN, all the rest of it. It's in a Briam building, so you feel good about the environment as well at the same time. But the best thing of all, you're with other businesses. So that collaborative environment where you're just chatting, you're creating opportunities. I want to see more of that, because that's something I don't see enough of.
You know what? I think I'm really lucky to work for the Urdd, because what we have is offices in every region in Wales pretty much. So I've been able to to keep my own job, but change where I live multiple times, because I get to just move to a different office in the Urdd. And it's a really supportive way of getting, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And you can bring young people back into the community then by offering them work in their communities. But on that as well, we've got an office in the Egin in Cyfyrddin, and that's full of different businesses, and a lot of them work in the arts. Theatre Cymru are there.
Ooh, nice. Sorry, I love theatre because that's what I worked before.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Theatre company, I'm like, oh!
Yeah, Theatre Cymru are there.
Sorry, carry on.
The Cyngor Celfyddydau, the Arts Council are there, Carlam are there, there's SLC are there, there's loads of different partners who work in the arts.
That's next to Trinity College, isn't it then?
Yes,
Because I studied there.
Yeah.
I did my degree in theatre design and productions there. So
it's run by the university, and it's S4C's main
is it theatre again in a Glythol?
Yes, yeah.
Cool. I used to work with Gareth Bond quite a lot in theatre days.
Gareth Bond is here? Yeah, running one of our stages.
My lovely man.
Bossing some people
around. My little theatre husband. No. He's a good boy. I've been meaning to see him, but I'm really busy in the morning, and he's quiet in the morning, and I'm quiet in the afternoon.
You're on a flip schedule.
We're on flip schedules, so we're just voice noting each other. Sorry, yes.
But I did notice after the Urdd moved into that office instead of a different office where we were in, that we started collaborating a lot more with those partners, because our staff are there, and you chat over a cup of tea.
Seeing opportunity.
And exactly. And you're like frustrated about something, and you vent over a coffee, and then they're like, well, we could help with that because we're doing this. And I've seen that a lot as well. And it's parallel, I guess, to reinvesting in communities is just partnership work, because we don't have the resources to do everything ourselves in the Urdd now specifically, but as a person, as an individual as well, we can't do everything, and we shouldn't be duplicating what everyone else is doing either. So
very good.
Working in partnership and eliminating that sense of competition in terms of, I want to be the best provider, I want to do this, I want the highest numbers of engagement, I want it all. Work with partnerships, and then you can share resources, share costs.
I got to get involved here, so I'm going to challenge you. You're doing something better than partnerships. You're collaborating.
We are.
That's what you're doing, because someone brings the knowledge, someone brings the resource, someone brings the venue, and that is how you become incredibly successful, I think. Because when you partner, I sort of view them a bit differently. So when you partner, someone comes in, they deliver and they leave. When they collaborate, they become part of the ecosystem.
That's lovely.
And a large part of that is to have the trust. And partnership doesn't create trust. Collaboration does.
Yeah.
And having I say nerve, when you first do it, you're so nervous because you're pitting yourself on the line to a certain extent, being like, if they mess up, I'm totally screwed right now. And that's, beautiful thing.
And it can be tough, and it takes a lot of work to set up a good partnership or collaboration. I like that.
You can take it.
But it's always worth it in the end. And I think because we travel around as the Eisteddfod as well, we always used to fall into the trap of, we would helicopter in, like to Ynys Môn, for example. We would say, right, we're putting on a show, we're doing a concert, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're having a big event, and we're going to do all our own stuff. And then we would see the community activities that were already there drop.
Yeah.
Because we were taking people.
You take it over for a five.
Because like the Eisteddfod's glossy and it's on TV and whatever. So people would stop going to their theatre club to come to our show rehearsal, which is bonkers.
It's counterintuitive, isn't it?
It's silly.
You should be adding value, not taking away.
Exactly. So we've stopped that now. We stopped helicoptering in. We still have the shows, but we work in partnership with practitioners that are already here, clubs that are already here. And it makes a difference because then everyone wins together.
Well, yeah, and that means the attendance goes up, there are more ticket sales, it helps them look even, I'm sure they're professional already, but it gives another element to it, does it, as well. And I think it's that involvement part of the Generations Act where you're involving everybody in the whole process. You might be training up some of the volunteers because a lot of them are volunteers who run these companies. So the value you're adding, and then I wouldn't say reputational gain, but just the good it does for Welsh culture and the sewing of it together.
Yeah. And so much of Welsh culture happens in the grassroots. It's there, it's embedded in the community. And I always find that a lot of Welsh people, they just take part in cultural activities, but they don't think that they're cultural people. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It angers me. Like my mum, for example, she goes to choir. She goes to art club once a week. She goes to like these poetry lessons, and she's like, yeah, but I'm not very creative. I'm not a cultural person.
Oh my God.
Like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
But because it's embedded in us, we don't think of going to choir practice as a cultural activity, but it is.
But even, for me, I put an environmental spin on that because that's a fantastic cultural example. But even if you tackle invasive species, if you litter pick, if you plant daffodils into the banking, so then at springtime it looks lovely, if you plant a tree, all of that is part of our culture because you're looking after our country. And if you're being, and I always say that, I was interviewing somebody called Adele Nozada. She's a world famous forager. She lives in Brecon. If you don't know her,
wow.
Oh my God, what a person. You should go see her. She made me weep pretty much on the interview. And she said to me that, and it totally rings true to me, everybody has their own sacred patch. Where you live is your sacred patch. And you look after that patch like it's your sacred area. Because no one else is going to look after it as good as you are. And you always want to look nice. So every year now, I've been doing things like I've planted 450 daffs at my banquet, and every year I do another 2 packs, because I want where I live to be nice.
Yeah.
And I do a litter pick. I used to be obsessed with it. That's what I started in my environment, doing 4 litter picks a day all over the bloody shop. And I can go into that again, but we're not on about this right now. But I will still do a litter pick quarterly in a mile radius of where I live, because that's my walk. That's where I take my daughter to school. I wanted to see it. And I bought her a little children's litter picker, so then we can do it together and embed her into it.
That's wonderful. But you are right, you have to do it yourself as well. And then if you do it yourself, then some people will follow, and it just builds and builds and builds, doesn't it? Like the village that I've just moved into, it's got a carnival committee, which I've joined.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Good, I'm glad. You should. It would be wrong if you didn't.
It's got an Eisteddfod, local Eisteddfod happening 3 miles down the road.
Are you part of that one?
I'm going to try and join the committee for that as well. I won't take over, I'll sit in the back.
You've got to be careful there, actually. Yeah, they're like, oh, she's in.
I won't take over, I promise. But they've got a gardening festival that they organise. And there's just loads of stuff that happens within the community. And I think that is getting rarer and rarer. But then moving into that village, I'm like, I'm going to join everything that I can. Within reason. Like, I'm not going to tire myself out, but I'm going to do what I can because I want to support that. And I don't want to be the one complaining in 10 years that the carnival's finished and I haven't done a jot to help. Do you know what I mean?
I do think our generation, anybody in their 30s, I don't know, I'm marking myself here, anybody in their 30s and below now are seeing the value in community projects and doing things in the community. And there's a weird fact I found out last week, which is there's this thing called Merlin. It's a bird app. It's amazing. I'm not a birder, but you just press play on it. It just listens. Just literally listens, and it's listening for birds, and it automatically identifies them for you and tells you what you've got.
Oh, wow.
So I always heard owls at night, and I was like, I don't know what they are, and I just put the app on my windowsill and left it there for half hour on my phone, and it was a tawny owl. So I found out there's a huge amount of tawny owls where I live
Through this app?
and it's free. Free
That's
download,
cool.
and then you can say where it is, and then weirdly you're a citizen scientist because you've done an accidental survey on where you live. You submitted it to a worldwide.
And they've got the data.
They've got the data.
That's handy,
So now
isn't
whenever
it?
I go play, when I got to Anglesey and I was fitting up here, I just put my phone out and just put it on record, and I just submitted the data. I was like, there you go, and I got to see what birds were here.
You've done your bit.
Done my bit.
That's good.
There we go. Right. Okay. I got the last question here. There is a bonus question right at the end, but I don't tell anybody that because it's the nicest one. And the leaders always find it hard to answer, which is perfect for me. So, what does building a sustainable future for young people actually look like in practice at the Urdd? We made it special for you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
You're unique. Yes. Well, I think from working with young people, it's always on their mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
The environment is always on their mind. And it's everywhere. And it can be really scary and really daunting. And I think one thing I would say is key is maybe not the actions that they put in place, but the mental health that comes before that, the well-being.
Yeah.
Because you have to look after yourself. And I think what I've found is a lot of young people have just become overwhelmed with, and I do it myself.
Yeah, of course.
With, well, this is so huge, I don't know where to start. And that's a scary feeling. And I think you have to just kind of break it down into bite-sized, manageable pieces.
Yeah.
And you have to really look after yourself before doing the work. Because if you get overwhelmed and then all your options, your only option would be, I'm going to sit back now and I can't do anything because I'm so overwhelmed, I'm paralyzed, which is a very natural reaction to have.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's a scary problem. You have to look after yourself and your friends, and conversations like this are the way that's going to happen, I think, between the young people. So being able to talk about it, knowing what those tiny little actions that they can do day by day are, and building on that. So I guess it looks different in each person's life.
Yeah.
But I think what is common is, and what should be common even, is knowing how to tackle that overwhelming feeling that you get when you think about the problem.
Yeah, and I use my own story there. So about 5 years ago, I didn't do anything environmental at all, and then COVID happened, and I realised, I need to protect this beautiful landscape. It's again, like everybody else, gets overwhelmed. And what I always say to people, incremental change.
Yeah.
Incremental. And when I say incremental, little things first, whether that is planting some daffodils. Now, again, we're living in a very negative world, very overwhelming, full of information, especially younger generations. They have their finger on the pulse with everything else going on. And my God, if I'm overwhelmed and I'm in my 30s, I can't think somebody who's 16, 18, 21, how they can feel and how they're coping, and I can totally see how they get paralyzed by that. So, I agree with you. It's all about finding somebody to talk to, not being scared to talk about it, having incremental change, doing something, try a little pick. Because I think the whole point when you do something, you connect to something bigger.
Yeah.
And you find a mentor, and you find a leader, or you find information, and eventually you find the thing that you love. I didn't start doing GreenWales until 5 months ago, but it took me 4.5 years, 5 years of doing this to realize this is what I'm made for. As I said to you, I started doing consultancy and policy, and as an environment officer, and I loved it, but I'm too creative for that. So I could do it for 3-6 months, and I'm like feeling a bit burnt out because I'm a creative person. And that's where GreenWales comes in. I'm still do my consultancy, I still do workshops, I still interact with people, I still do that work, but the GreenWales cuts through the middle of all of that. And it's how I cope with my climate anxiety. You know, I talk to people and I get inspiration. And then what I'm hoping to do, if you have climate anxiety you're watching, guess what? Watch all the GreenWales episodes because it's very, very positive.
It's a good way to start as well, and just embed yourself into the conversation.
Yeah.
Listen and learn what other people are saying, like you're saying. If you haven't got anyone in your immediate network of people who you can talk to this about, this is a great way to find that out. And I think often as well, people just kind of need a little roadmap out of where they are.
Yes.
So like you just mentioned, litter picking, suggestions. What can you do? What are the 5 tiny things that you can start with? And then once you've done them, you've probably met someone who might be doing something different. And then you might be able to do something else, and it will take you on that journey.
There's a plant I'm obsessed with. It's called, have you ever heard of yellow rattle?
No.
So if you don't like mowing,
Yeah.
but you want to do something good for nature, get yellow rattle in your garden. It makes meadows. It eats grass.
Yeah.
So what it does is acidic to grass roots, and it wipes out the grass over time. It's an annual, so it seeds itself. The only thing you've got to do is cut it once a year.
Wow.
You've got to rake it off, and it creates meadow-like conditions, and it pits all in rare species invertebrates. It's amazing. It's an amazing plant. But that's something that you can do in your own back garden. I've had a neighbour put a kitchen sink bowl in her garden and create a pond. She's now got great crested newts in there. It's literally a sink bowl.
That's the thing.
But it's tiny, incremental things, feeding the birds, planting trees, pitting plants, and growing a little bit of food. Whether that's a sugar snap pea in your windowsill or tomato plant. These things all have to be incremental, because otherwise you're just not going to get there.
Yeah, we have no power to stop huge factories from shut down and stop producing emissions.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can maybe all
we
together.
can
We
by
can
how we
all
buy
together.
our purchase power, But you're right. You don't feel like you can.
You don't feel like you have the strength to do that. Like, I can't wake up tomorrow and do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're shutting down. Yeah,
maybe
you can't
all
do
together
that.
we could.
Yeah.
But I could wake up tomorrow and plant a meadow.
Yes, and I think there's a big thing for me. Silly stuff I do is I stopped using sponges for washing dishes. I use the loofah.
Is it the coconut thing?
Not loofah, like the loofah you wash yourself that. So
the natural sponge. Yeah.
So they're really expensive, and I went on my first really big holiday last year to Crete, and someone's like, "Why have you got 5 loofahs in your bag?" And they were like, "They're like this." All right, they're not meant for what I had them. And I was like, because it was like €2 for one. At home, one little sponge is £5. So I got them underneath my sink, and I just cut and that's my sponge for the year.
That's amazing.
And then there's no plastics going down.
The coconut scourers,
Is
do you
it?
know what I mean?
I've not used one of those.
They're all right.
Shall I have a little go?
They're better than a sponge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
maybe not as good as a loofah.
But then we'll have to have a little picture.
Scrub off.
Compare. Scrub off, yeah. We'll get 5 greasy things and we'll have to scrub them in time. Whoever's the quickest, whoever's the cleanest, with the least amount of soaps.
wins a
the
medal
race.
on the Urdd stage.
Okay, but I would love, that's something I'd love to see at the Urdd is there's so many sustainability things happening across site. I interviewed, did a seagrass company in the science tent, and they're doing things all around Anglesey. You've got the waste and recycling, who I interviewed earlier on, called Emlyn Davis, fantastic man
Love
that he
Emlyn.
is. You've got the hydrogen happening on site. These things are absolutely amazing, and I think they just deserve a bit more space. So I would challenge you to do that for me next year. I'll help you.
A loofah competition.
Yeah, there we go. One sustainable action, like a teaching room maybe for children.
Yeah.
So the last question I've got for you is if we are led by the people that we interview. So whatever the guest says, whoever I should go and see, I go and see. It's transparency for me, but it helps the guest. And it kind of sends me off in different ways as well, which is so interesting, where like I'm off to see Carrie Moore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't plan to do that, but
No,
I'm off to a boat. Yeah. So if I asked you, and because of the position that you're in and the how many people you're connected to, if you want to say more than one, you can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to go see somebody next, whether that's a person, a project, a company, a supplier, an organization, a charity, anybody like that is aligned to Wellbeing Food Generations Act and doing amazing things for Wales, in Wales, who would you send me to go and see? No pressure.
Oh my gosh.
Feels like there's a lot of pressure behind that one.
It does feel like a lot of pressure. I'm in such an Eisteddfod bubble right now. I can't even think beyond the parameters of this mice.
That's fine. You can put someone in there.
I can pick someone in the mice.
Yeah. if you feel like, yeah, that's great. And you can go to your village. You can go to a community group that's doing amazing things. I might not be up North Wales for a little while because I try and do things sustainably. So I travel with projects. Then when I like I am right now,
Happen to be here. Yeah.
I'm organising it all.
I would say if you want to figure out what Jacob was saying properly without me misinterpreting things, talk to Jacob.
Okay.
Because that insetting thing is fascinating, I think.
Great shout.
We've also have community gardens on the Eisteddfod site.
Where? Sorry, I was like, I've missed this.
Have you been over to the Gardd Eisteddfod? No?
I feel like I haven't. Where is it? Because someone's been pointing me to this a few times, and I'm like, where is the
It's
Gyfartha?
in. Have you been past the results stage?
Yes.
This is going to be so boring for people who are listening.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm very sorry.
Sorry, maybe I'll put a map up. I'll just do it that way. So past the results stage.
I'll tell you where it is later.
So, yes.
So we've got an area on
So
site.
why is it not go through that? Yeah. Sorry, viewer. She's so much wiser than I
So
am.
you take 2 steps forward.
Yeah. Turn right. Sorry. Carry on.
We've got an area that we introduced in 2022 called the Garddorfa. And Garddorfa is a portmanteau of Gardd, which is garden, and Cerddorfa, which is orchestra.
Okay.
So it's like a cultural garden. So we have, it's changed a little bit this year, and it's changed form every year depending on where we are.
Okay.
But it's all made out of reusable or natural or environmental materials. So there's no plastic in the Garddorfa. There's a lot of wood, there's some metals, and there's, different things that you actually need to make an event site happen. But there's wooden planters with community planted gardens in there. They're quite small, but they're really nice. And it was a gardener called Urdd Williams who planted them on site with a community group. And they're really pretty. And then the designer of the Garddorfa is someone called Llio, and she designs the rest of our site as well. And she is really good at reusing. She works a lot in theatre. She works a lot in communities. She actually has a project right now with her sister, who also works here, called Project Llio, which means less.
I'm getting very excited now.
It's really cool. So they've been teaching people in the communities how to sew and how to fix things,
repair culture.
especially fabric. And they also have like swap shops for clothes. They had a residential weekend in Anscrthein a couple of weeks ago where they had loads of sewing machines out and they were just teaching people the skills.
Oh my God. Sorry, I get so
excited.
excited.
And Lois designs our site in terms of the branding and the signs and the colour and the flags. So Lois, I think, would be a really good person to talk to as well.
That sounds great. Thank you very, very much. Right. Got a present for you.
Oh my God.
Everybody gets a
Is
present.
it a fan?
I am so
I've got a very
right
sweaty
now.
upper lip.
I was hoping... Oh my God. Would you like a towel? No. I can't wait to take my hat off. That's the only thing I can say. So everybody who comes on the show gets something, because we don't do a membership because I just don't like the word membership. It just feels really like old school. We do something called a collective. So I'd like to give you this. It's your little GreenWales badge for us, okay? High quality on purpose, okay?
Not just my trousers as well.
Yay! There's teal and green in there. So you're part of the collective, people who are actually doing things on the ground. It's really important that we celebrate the people doing things in the right way for Wales, the culture of Wales, and the future of Wales. So that recognises that you are definitely one of those. You're the 30th member. I say member. I said the word. I hate it. Collective person. Part of it. And we also do something then, which I'll have to get your email for, sadly. Sorry, I have to check your email.
I won't say it on there.
Don't say it on there, yeah. But you become part of something called the Collaboration Station. So what we do every quarter, we send an email out to everybody. Everybody sort of see, we might BCC yourself, but you can see everybody within there. And it's all about connecting people together. It might be supply chains, businesses, charities, ideas, and everybody in this aligned to Wellbeing Future Generations Active Wales. So it's a place of connecting people throughout Wales together. And then hopefully what's starting to happen now, people are starting to approach me going, I'm doing this event, I need X, Y, and Z. And I go, oh, cool, use this person, use that person. Because they're trusted and they're doing. And I think that's the really important thing in Wales, that we celebrate the people who are working so hard to do the good things in Wales. Because it's hard work, isn't it?
It is hard work.
But it's worth doing.
Work, but it's very much worth doing. It's hard and it can be expensive, but ultimately
it's for the greater good, and it's for the future generation. So the last thing is just to say thank you very, very much for coming on to the show, and I hope you enjoy when you watch it back.
Thank you. You're quite the change maker, aren't you? This is a lovely conversation.
I try. I totally
wear this
try.
with pride.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.